Hey guys, welcome back. So today I thought I would do a fun tag video. I actually saw this one on Ariel's channel last week and I'm not sure if it's new. It doesn't seem new, but it's new to me. So I thought it would be fun to do it, and that is the TBR Book Tag video. I figured this was perfect because I was just telling myself that it was probably time I go through my Goodreads and clean it out, since that's something that I like to do every once in a while, just so that I don't have like 1,000 books accumulating. So with that said, let's just go ahead and dive into the questions, and as usual, please let me know in the comments if you have read any of these or what is currently on your TBR. And I'll probably mention this again at the end, but in terms of like, who do you tag? As usual, I tag all of you. So if you want to do the video, please feel free to tag me so that I can check it out and comment on it. So without further ado, I've got my questions as usual on my phone. So we're just going to go straight down the list. Okay, so question 1, how do you keep track of your TBR file? So I actually keep track a few different ways. My main way of keeping track is by using Goodreads, and I'm sure you guys know what that is. It's easy for me to go on my phone because I have the app and just plug in whatever book that I want to add to my TBR. And I've actually started doing a couple of other things unofficially as well. So I take pictures on my phone whenever I'm out and about and I come across a book that I might want to read, say like I'm at a bookstore or a sidewalk sale, or maybe I'm at the library and like I don't want to check it out just yet, but maybe later. I'll take a picture of it on my phone. And also what I've been doing recently is using the Instagram bookmark feature. So on my Bookstagram account, I've got a couple of things that I bookmark, and one of them is like a TBR list. And so whenever I'm going through looking at people's pictures or posts and they talk about a book that I want to read, I'll go ahead and bookmark it. It's supposed to be so that I can remind myself to add it to my Goodreads, but I don't. So just, it's a third way of me keeping track. Okay, second question. Is your TBR mostly print or ebook? So for me, it's really a mix of everything. When I am looking up a book, I don't necessarily decide right away if I want to read it physical, ebook, or even listen to it on audiobook. I really think it just depends on what I'm in the mood for when it comes time for me to finally pick up the book. So yeah, I'd say it's 50-50. It's a gamble depending on what mood I'm in. Next one, how do you determine which book from your TBR to read next? Okay, so that's a great question. If you guys have been around here for a while, you know that I am a mood reader, so really it's 100% going to determine, or rather be dictated by the mood that I'm in. And recently I just realized that not only am I a mood reader, but I'm also a seasonal reader. So if it is like really gloomy weather, I'll tend to lean more towards like darker mysteries and thrillers, and when the sun finally comes out like it is today, then I'm gonna want to pick up something lighter. So that's usually how I determine what to read next. Okay, so a book that's been, okay, so these next ones coming up are all like types of books coming up. So first one is a book that's been on your TBR list the longest, and the longest I would probably say Lover Awakened, maybe that's it. It's the first book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series, which I have had on my TBR and my Goodreads shelves forever. I remember at one point I actually even took it off, and then I saw it like on someone's profile and they were talking about it, and I got re-excited about it all over again, and I ended up adding it back. So go figure. Next we have, let's see, a book you recently added to your TBR, and that is Rewind by Catherine Ryan Howard. This one is about a woman who I think is in like this motel or something, and she sees a murder happening on like the closed captioning or a video, something like that, but she's trying to determine if it's real or not, and it's a mystery thriller, and so we're left trying to figure out along with her if the murder was real or not, while also, you know, not being captured by the killer, if there is one, so to speak. Next, okay, this is a good one. A book in your TBR that you added strictly because of its beautiful cover. That's easy for me. It would be The Starless Sea. I definitely had a Bookstagram made me do it moment when I bought this a couple of months ago. Of course I want to read it, but I was initially pulled in by the cover because I was really captivated by the like black and gold that it had going on, so guilty. Let's see. Next we have a book on your TBR that you never plan on reading. Okay, so I feel like it defeats the purpose of a TBR if you keep books on there that you're never actually going to read. But instead of answering that, because technically I don't do that, I will say maybe like a book that I plan on taking off my TBR once I clean up my Goodreads, because I'm trying to, like I mentioned to you guys, just clear out all the clutter, and that book would probably be Pet Sematary. Now I know I mentioned maybe like a few videos back that I wanted to finally read Stephen King, and it was probably going to be Pet Sematary. Well, I ended up reading Mr. Mercedes first, actually, which I loved, and the more I started thinking about it and talking to my husband, actually, who recently read Pet Sematary, I don't quite think it's a book for me, so I'm gonna have to just let that one fall by the wayside, unfortunately. Next, we have an unpublished book on your TBR that you're excited for. Ooh, okay, so an unpublished book that I'm excited about is The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This one is an Agatha Christie-esque mystery that is set on a not deserted, but isolated island, and it's a group of people who come together for like this really big wedding, and one of the guests end up dying, and so naturally we're trying to figure out which of the guests there is the suspect who actually did it, which, I love Agatha Christie type books, so I'm definitely excited about this one. Next, we have a book on your TBR that basically everyone's read but you. Okay, without a doubt, that would have to be Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I'm not even going to say what this book is about, because chances are you've read it, because that's the whole purpose of this. I felt like everyone's talking about it on BookTube. Yes, I added it to my TBR, not necessarily because of the hype. If I'm being honest, I actually tried to stay away from it simply because of that. I have this weird thing where the more a book is talked about, the less I want to read it, but finally caved in because I read the reviews, which I hardly ever do, and obviously I read what the book is about, and it just seems like it's right up my alley. I think I even downloaded a sample on my Kindle, and I just need to actually pull the trigger and read the damn book already. Okay, so next we have a book on your TBR that everyone recommends to you. Okay, this one, I've got dog hair in my eye because of that one back there. Okay, this one is Stay Sexy and Don't Get Murdered, which is kind of like the unofficial autobiography about the women who have the what's the name of the podcast? My Favorite Murder, which I should remember because it's one of my favorite podcasts. But yes, the host of that show actually came out with a book in which they're talking about their upbringing and their lives. And I will admit, originally I was a little disappointed when I heard they were coming out with a book and that it was mostly based on their life rather than like the concept of their podcast, which revolves around true crime. But I have been hearing nothing but great things about this. And as a listener of the podcast, I know that they each have had their respective like rough upbringings, just in terms of like drugs and alcohol abuse and just like coming out of that on the other side and being successful. So I'm definitely going to check that one out because I think it would really shed some extra insight into who they are. And let's see, we're almost done, guys. A book on your TBR shelf that you are dying to read. That one's easy because it just came out, and it's 8 Perfect Murders. This one is about, it's a mystery thriller, obviously, based on the title, but it's about I think a bookseller or maybe an author. But anyway, someone is going around murdering people based on like really famous murders in books that are well known, so like Sherlock Holmes, Agatha Christie, in those kind of styles. And so we are left along with the protagonist trying to figure out obviously who it is. But the reason that they chose these murders is that because of the books that they're coming from, they're like really prolific, hard to solve cases. So I'm really excited about that one. I actually was going to pre-order it, but I forgot, and now it just is on my TBR, and I definitely need to just go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. So last up, how many books are on your TBR shelf? So I actually had to do some math with this, which that's not my thing, but luckily Goodreads makes it easy for you and it just gives you a nice little number without you having to count. So like I said before, I've got a few different sources of how I track my TBR list, but Goodreads, I've got 81 shelved so far, and that's after I cleaned everything out. ish. Then I went through and counted in Instagram on my like saved collection, and I've got 24 there. And like I said, I also take pictures of books on my phone, but because I back up my phone a lot, that's just, I don't want to go that deep in the rabbit hole. So let's just say over 100, which I thought I was doing good when I cleaned out my Goodreads shelf, and then I looked on Instagram and I remember my phone and I got a little overwhelmed. So yeah, the good thing is my TBR does not currently outweigh my current books read, so I feel like I'm winning somehow in that aspect. I don't know, you guys tell me. But anyway, that is it for the questions. Like I said in the beginning of the video, please feel free to do this and leave me a comment if you do, because I'd love to check out your answers. If you've read any of the books that I mentioned, I'd love to know your thoughts about them, because I'm looking to do like another pass through my TBR to like really determine if I want to read a book. I don't know, I have this weird thing, even though the TBR is digital and it's not taking up space, I get this like digital KonMari thing where I want to clean it out. That could be just me. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please comment and like if you did, and if you want to see more content like it. And in the meantime, happy reading. I'll see you guys later. Bye!